Hey guys, it's Mitch from the Bottom Line View here. Here just to talk about the big trade that happened today in the NFL. That's my Patriots sent Chandler Jones, the leading sack leader last year with 12 and a half sacks, to the Arizona Cardinals for a second round pick and guard Jonathan Cooper. I'm going to look at it from both perspectives. I'm going to look at it from the Patriots perspective and, of course, the Arizona Cardinals perspective. First of all, the Patriots perspective. Why did they trade away Chandler Jones? Their best pass rusher from a year ago, a guy that won a Super Bowl on their team, still a young playmaking defensive end who has not even hit his prime yet. Why would they trade Chandler Jones? The answer to this question is because they simply had to trade Chandler Jones. Sure, they'd love to keep Chandler Jones, but next year, in case you don't know this, the Patriots have to sign both cornerbacks, Malcolm Butler and Logan Ryan. They have to sign both linebackers, Jamie Collins and Dante Hightower. And they have to sign Jabal Sheard and Ninkovich. One guy had to go. One or two guys has to go. And for now, they picked Chandler Jones to leave. The big three or four that have to be signed. Malcolm Butler's going to get a big contract because he's a cornerback. And he last year played really well, and he'll probably play even better this year. Dante Hightower and Jamie Collins are two of the best inside linebackers in the NFL, so they're going to demand some money. But Chandler Jones, being a pass rusher and a defensive end, he was going to demand the most money. If you look at what Olivier Vernon got, who was on Miami, now he is on the Giants, he got a ridiculous amount of money, and there's no way the Patriots were going to pay that much for Chandler Jones. There's no way. Have the Patriots ever paid that much money? Besides Tom Brady, have they ever paid that much money? And even now, Tom Brady takes a pay cut. The Patriots don't like paying players, and they're not going to break the mold and pay Chandler Jones. Chandler Jones, sure, was a good pass rusher. He was the best on the team last year. He's not Von Miller, he's a solid guy, above solid. He's a Pro Bowl level defensive end. He is inconsistent, though. Last year, he had 10 and a half sacks, and I believe he was tied for the league lead after 9 games. And then he fell off to only get 2 more sacks in the rest of the regular season and didn't really show that he deserved that huge contract in the playoffs last year, as well as having that whole accident with the marijuana and all that stuff. That just throws it on top of, first of all, the inconsistency and the money, because they weren't going to pay a guy that's not as valuable to their team, as great as he has been, not as valuable as Jamie Collins, and not as valuable as Dante Hightower or Malcolm Butler. You can get away with depth on the defensive line. You can get away with good pass rushers, but a variety of them. They have good depth on the defensive line. They have Dominique Easley at D-tackle, who hopefully doesn't get hurt, but he was one of their better pass rushers in the interior. They let go of Akeem Hicks, who was really good late in the season, so good pickup for the Chicago Bears. Malcolm Brown looks legit. He looks like the replacement for Vince Wilfork. He's a better in the pass rushing situation. He's smaller, but he's a solid D-tackle, and he's going to be good for years to come. You got Jabal Sheard, who was a really, really nice pickup from Cleveland last year. You have Rob Ninkovich, who's been solid throughout his whole career. He's a great run stopper, and he's good at getting after the quarterback. And they might go after and sign a guy like Chris Long or something like that. They also drafted 2 guys in the 3rd round, Trey Flowers, in the 4th round, Geno Grissom. And Trey Flowers looked really, really good in the preseason before he got hurt. So, that being said, the Patriots have depth on the defensive line. That is why they made this deal, as well as all the money situation that had to go down next year. So now, why'd the Cardinals trade for a guy like Chandler Jones, who's going to demand that big contract? I think that they believe that Chandler Jones can take them to the next level. They have the secondary. They have Patrick Peterson there. Sure, they might need another cornerback, but with Chandler Jones's pass rushing capabilities, that's going to help them out a lot. Now, the confusing thing to me is you got Chandler Jones, who's a 4-3 defensive end, and now you're going to put him into a 3-4 system. That's a confusing thing, because I've seen Chandler Jones play outside linebacker in the 3-4 when the Patriots decide to play it, or they play a 5-2 sometimes, and it's very, very he's not good against the run when he's standing up. He's an okay pass rusher when he's standing up, but he's not as good as he is in the 4-3. I think he's better when he has his hand in the dirt and he's rushing after the passer. He's not as good when he's standing up. So he's not. I don't think he's athletic, but I don't think he's that athletic to play that position and transform into a 3-4 defensive end. I think that will be difficult for him if they decide to go that route. And they're going to need him to play more than just on third downs for a pass rushing situation if they're going to pay him that much money, especially giving up a second-round pick. So, yeah, I'm just interested to see what the Cardinals are going to do on defense. But Chandler Jones is a talented guy. He's a good player, and he'll help the Cardinals defense all around. And the Cardinals defense should be really good going into next year. And Jonathan Cooper is a guy who was drafted in the first round for the Cardinals a couple years ago, and he hasn't really panned out as a guy that they thought would be a great offensive guard. I believe he backed up last year in Arizona, and he just hasn't lived up to the hype, as well as them probably signing Evan Mathis. I know that they worked him out and they offered him a 2-year deal, so that's interesting. So keep track of that if that does happen. That would be a big thing for this trade, because that would open up the availability to give away a guy like Cooper, who still has some upside. He's young, he has upside, and he's played in the NFL. He hasn't developed into quite the high-end talent that they believe him to be, but I think in New England, he'll start, probably. If he has a good camp, he'll start. They needed help in the offensive line, especially the way that the Patriots now decide to rotate their offensive line as if it's a defensive line. I know last year when they had all their guys in their offensive line, they like to keep their offensive linemen fresh and rotate. So they like depth at guard and center and tackle. So I think that's another good move for the Patriots, being that he has a smaller contract. They'll have to restructure it. And he's a guy with high upside who was drafted as a first-round pick. And I think Dante Scarnecchia coming back for the Patriots is big, because he's a great offensive line coach, and he can develop anybody into being a good offensive lineman. So Cooper, high upside, good trade for the Patriots in terms of value from that side. Now you get the second-round pick, which they lost their first-round pick, of course, for Deflategate, so that impacts that even more. You get another pick in the second round. So the Patriots like to move around a lot in the draft, so another pick does not hurt, especially in the second round. The trade that reminds me of this is when the Patriots traded Richard Seymour in, I believe it was 2009, right before the season. At least this time they were respectful to Chandler Jones. I know Chandler Jones loves New England and he didn't want to leave. He posted on his Snapchat, he was emotional about it. And it's sad for me to see Chandler Jones leave, but I think the Cardinals are getting a really good player, a guy that's going to help them, a guy that's going to be good for a long time. On the other side, the Patriots are getting some high upside at guard. They're getting a guy that could potentially start this year, as well as getting a second-round pick. So they could get 2 really good players out of this trade. And some cap space, which New England desperately needed for next year. So let me know what you guys think about this trade. Do you think the Cardinals won, or do you think the Patriots won? I guess time will tell, but for now I'm going to say that it was a pretty even trade. All right, so it's Mitch from the Bottom Line View. I hope you guys enjoy this video, like it, and if you want, subscribe. Peace out.